Thank you for joining us on this episode of KTN Mid-Morning. Welcome to the show. Creating awareness for cancer can be done in a number of ways. There are campaigns, charity walks and dinners, the media, word of mouth, and etc. However, one of the methods used which both entertains and relays vital information is theatrical productions. Wit is a play which aims to celebrate the life of the late Professor Wangari Maathai, whose life was taken away by cancer last year. The production of the play also aims to raise money for the Nairobi Hospice, which has been providing support and comfort to people who are dying of terminal illness. Today we speak to some of the cast and crew and members making this play happen. That's coming up next on Mid-Morning Lifestyle.
This tomb is hopping tonight.
It's crowded. There's too many of us.
You can't have too many. Growth is good. In fact, unrestrained growth is the philosophy of the cancer cell.
But we're using up resources that other cells need.
Other cells? Like spleen cells? You value spleen cells over cancer cells?
No,
Other cells wouldn't have any value without cancer cells around to appreciate them.
But what about...
Cancer cells are the pinnacle of evolution.
One of the best ways to create awareness for any emerging social matter is through edutainment. Edutainment, in simple terms, is educating viewers while entertaining them at the same time.
Good evening, ladies and James, especially James.
After 20 years, I can say...
That's exactly what the cast and crew of the play Wit hope to achieve. Mid-Morning got the opportunity to speak to some of the cast and crew members of the play who seek to create awareness for cancers that are difficult to detect.
In this project, we have 9 cast members, and then we have a production team of up to about 6 people. But I'd like to say that we have so many supporters who have come, people who have just seen the project and been taken in by the story of Vivian Baring of the play Wit by Margaret Edson, and the fact that Moby is in it, we have Jockey in it, we have Dana Sada in it, and we have Mugambi, we have Frida, and all these people have links to the rest of the industry. And this is what's really cool about it, is that because of that, people are like, oh, you know what, I want to participate, I want to do something. It's about cancer awareness, it's about advocacy around healthcare issues, it's about advocacy for the patients, for cancer patients, it's advocacy for treatment with dignity.
If I were poetically inclined, I might employ a threadbare metaphor.
I play Vivian Baring. Vivian Baring is a professor of 17th century poetry, specializing in the holy sonnets of John Donne. John Donne is one of what is known as the metaphysical poets. He deals with the questions of life and death and God, salvation. And through the prism of her expertise in this subject, you see her transition from this person who was powerful in class and was a human being in her full right to being this quite pathetic victim in hospital who's sort of being poked and prodded, and it's a teaching hospital, so you see the elements of the dehumanization of somebody who is a case and not a human being, because for the doctors this is a very interesting case.
The man would come around and ring his bell and we'd all run over. Then we'd sit on the pavement and eat our popsicles.
I play the role of Susie Monahan. She's the primary nurse caring for Professor Vivian Baring. She's a fantastic role. Our director Nyambura likes to say that Susie is the heart of the play. And when we thought about that, when we talked that through and we're doing our table reads and stuff, we realized that Susie's a heart, and hearts are messy, bleeding things. So they're very volatile. So she's not an emotionally predictable person, but she cares, and she cares single-mindedly. And Susie's not afraid to jump in the path of the consultants and the doctors and tell them, hey, you guys are wrong. She's that person. And Susie's the only person in the play who calls Vivian Ms. Baring, not professor, not doctor, Ms. So Susie connects with Vivian as a human being, fundamentally.
Ms. Baring, this is Dr. Jason Posner. He's going to do your history, ask you a few questions and stuff. He's Dr. Kelekian's fellow.
I play the part of Dr. Jason Posner, who is a clinical fellow. I think the local term here is registrar. He's training under a consultant, oncology specialist. Jason is a very interesting guy. He's a little socially awkward. He's very goal-oriented, doesn't really care much for sentimental things. But he's a guy who likes to push himself and likes to achieve great things. He's a complicated person because he's, for all intents and purposes, he's a machine that has a heart.
I'll never forget the time that I found out that I had cancer.
You have cancer.
See? Unforgettable. Came as something of a shock.
The play Wit has brought together familiar names in the theatrical and music industry.
I got into acting doing Eric Wainaina's show, Luanda Ghetto Stories, back in 2006. Before that, I had done one play. It's called Kanzala, written by Professor Kivuta Kibwana. But that was really the length and breadth of my acting career. So after I did that, then I did in 2006. I did Luanda Ghetto Story, and I've basically only worked on that musical until all the way it became more fire. And then now I'm in Wit.
I've done this for a very long time. I've done it since I was in primary school. And I took it very seriously in high school. I did all the school plays. I wrote about 3 of them. They went, we presented them at the provincial and district competitions. And then I moved on to study theatre in IB. And as a result of doing my theatre in IB, I went on to study communication studies and film production in Canada.
I was always a spectator. I love plays. I used to be the kid that cut out play announcements and took them home to inform my parents, we are going. That was one. Second, I've always been a student. So when I got the chance to go to St. Mary's to do IB, my favorite subject was text and performance, and that was about translating the text onto stage using all sorts of stage ideas and philosophies and things like that. And then after that, I've become a performer. So it's just kind of been a journey.
Njoki Ngumi has been taught by the likes of Ian Bugwa, Millicent Ogutu, Julissa Rowe, and Ellis Otieno, just to name a few.
What helps me decide, like, I want to audition for this, is I like flaws. I like flaws in people. They're human and they're very beautiful and they're real, and everybody can identify with a flaw. So if a flaw is obvious, I want a part of that because it helps me explore also myself and not to be afraid of things like that.
We'd all run over. Then we'd sit on the pavement and eat our popsicles. Pretty profound, huh?
Nyambura Waruwingi, who is also a screenwriter, describes theatre as her first love.
I'm a creative spirit. I will create for theatre, I will create for a film, I will create for ads. I don't really try to restrict myself because at the end of the day, what you're looking at is how can I most creatively express this idea? Now, the structure that you use for film is one. It has a very different formalistic language. Theatre, you'll use a different language. You're shooting an ad, you'll use a different language. You're making episodes for the web, you'll use a different language. But at the end of the day, if you do not have the story right, if you do not understand how to be innovative with it, then it doesn't really matter. So I'm not genre specific. I create because it's what I love to do.
Dana Seda, who is playing the role of a doctor in the play Wit, has 2 studio albums, Sulue released in 2005 and Benganology released in 2010.
I was an undergraduate at the university. I took your course in 17th century poetry.
You did?
Yes. I wanted to be in this play, first of all, because Mumbi is a very good friend of mine. And she came to visit and she told me about the play she was working on. I thought it was an exciting project, so I asked her if I could audition. And I think the rest is history.
The play has taken a little over a month to put together and is a celebration of one of our Kenyan heroines.
Wangari Maathai was a close family member to Mumbi's family, Mumbi Kaigwa's family, and she wanted to do this to celebrate her life because Wangari was also a supporter of theatre and understood what arts did, having an arts industry, having artists would do to our country, how that would, help develop us and how that is a big part of who we are culturally. Knowing that as an artist, you feel heartened because people like to divide art and science. I think they're both the same side of a coin, they're both sides of the same coin, pardon me.
Good. Mumbi Kaigwa, who is the lead character of the show, is not only known for her talents, but her sense of style as well.
Came to a point in my life where I didn't want to put chemical in my hair anymore. And I was braiding, and you know how the braids fall off? So one of the braids in the front fell off. And so I plaited it, and it was when I went to have the hair undone by the hairdresser who was now going to relax my hair, she said, "Shall I undo this?" And I said, "Actually, just leave it," because it was dead center. It was exactly where it is now. So I put a bead on it, and then gradually it became a dreadlock.
No, I know.
In some occasions, actors are expected to make a number of compromises in order to get a certain role in a movie, series, or theatrical production. While compromises such as surgery are considered extreme, there are some that may not be the case but difficult to do all the same.
Because the character who I'm playing is going through an 8-month course of cancer treatment, one of the things that we're acting out is chemotherapy. And with chemotherapy, you lose your hair. So I'm going to shave my hair. And while I'm quite used to shaving it very, very short, I've never shaved this off. So after 10 years, I started this. This is since 2002. I'm going to shave it off.
Putting together a play can be quite costly, and partnering with sponsors can mean all the difference in the theatrical world. Healthy Woman is a magazine which targets the upwardly mobile woman who is balancing her busy career and family. The magazine seeks to give women tools to make informed decisions about their health.
When the play Wit was pitched to me the first time, it focuses on a cancer that we don't have all the information about, ovarian cancer. And this being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it fell smack dab in the middle of when people were going to be talking about cancer, but they were going to be talking about a specific cancer that not very many people have information about. And the hospice were kind enough to open their doors to us and give us that information. And we felt as Healthy Woman, we'll run with this cause just so we can we've glamorized, I don't know whether we can say, it's okay to say this, but we've glamorized one kind of cancer. And there's several other kinds out there that people don't fully know about, and they don't know where to go for this kind of help. We want to be that source of information where we can tell you, look, we can't give you the help, but we know where you can go to get it.
The most important word for cancer right now is screening. Screening is part of primary health care. And that means catching something before it becomes a big issue, before it needs treatment, and also having people learn how to prevent. So it's screening and prevention. So just watch your body, watch your bowel habits, watch everything. And something seems new, ask a question, get yourself checked.
Cancer is a disease that affects everyone just on the basis of your humanity. It doesn't really care for social class or economic advancement or anything. Cancer is a problem that all of humanity has to deal with, and it's a problem for each and every one of us.
I have friends who have had their siblings have cancer. One is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So for me, they are in Canada, and so for me, it's what draws me to this play is the fact that it's not just about me having been affected by cancer on a personal level in terms of family or relatives. It's the fact that I could also have cancer at some point in my life.
Oh, honey, of course you are. I think there is good work being put into the research behind finding a cure for cancer or pain management, you know, or everything else they're trying to do. But there is still so much more that we can do. You know, I long for the day where we can find treatment here at an affordable, you know, price, and people who can't afford to fly to India, say, to get treatment, can walk into Kenyatta and get the treatment that they need.
The beneficiary of this play is the Nairobi Hospice. And we're going to assist in helping them set up to infuse funds so that they can set up a new wing to the hospital and continue with the great work that they've been doing.
Mrs. Baring,
I'm sorry.
do you have any questions so far?
No, please go on.
Anybody can wear a costume.
Perhaps some of these
Anybody can learn lines. But giving yourself to a role completely, forgetting yourself at the door and coming on as who the writer meant that character to be, requires an amount of focus and concentration and presence that is very difficult to give on cue. So rehearsal is about learning that for that particular character, for that particular production, and exercises for actors are built on being able to derive that focus even when you're making a mistake, even when all sorts of things are happening, and being able to find a line between drawing from your personal experiences to make your character a richer one and seeing what else you can learn from other people.
The challenge of a director is to find out what your actor wants in order to give them what they need. And that's knowing, and for that brief moment that because you get to work with actors for maybe 5 weeks, or if you're working in film, they walk in a day before the shoot and you have to direct them through, let's say, 5-week shoot, who knows. So you have to have a skill of getting to know a person for who they are, not for who they should be or who they can be, but who they are, in order for you to work with them and create a character with them, because I'm a collaborative director. I like to sit with my actors and, you know, figure out what the characters, how the characters are, and then what them as actors can bring to the role.
Now I'm going to ask you about your past medical history. Have you ever been hospitalized?
I had my tonsils out when I was 8.
Ever been pregnant?
No.
Ever had heart murmurs?
My most embarrassing moment was actually here in Phoenix when I was doing a play. I can't remember which play it was exactly right now, but I remember I was the first on stage after the break, and I A, forgot my first line, and B, when I remembered it, I shrubbed it amazingly. And oh God, and you know, I had to finish the scene with a straight face. And then go off. And then I remember when I went off, I just stood and asked myself, what was that? Who am I? What am I doing here? And everybody else who was on stage with me. And I remember people like TK and Eddie Mbogwa. They all came backstage and lay on the ground laughing. Oh my God. Making a mistake is insane. But you need to be able to pick up and move on.
For me, I showed up on stage and my fly was open. And the members of the audience, I could hear them whispering. So I had to find a way, I had to find a clever way to zip up. It's a mixed bag for me playing the role of a doctor. It's complicated because I've never thought of myself as a doctor ever. I mean, but then it's also easy because my dad was one. So I can channel the great Mr. Ocheng through this thing and see. It's fun, it's fun. I've always interacted a lot with people in the medical profession. My parents, my mom's a nurse also, and some old friends of mine were doctors, so it's not that difficult. I've got people that I can study for the role.
I know amazing nurses where I work. They're such wonderful people. Even in even from memories of having worked with very many nurses in my life, who are just amazing, beautiful, caring, passionate people who are not afraid to speak the truth, who will call you out on your crap, who will say, no, this is not what's going to be done. That's the biggest thing.
I think when you're an actor and you're trying to get ready for a role, the first thing is research. Trying to understand the state of mind of people that actually do this every day, people that it's for real, they're not just trying to put on a show. So you talk to different people, trying to understand how their work is, people whose real jobs are close to the character that I'm playing.
Miss Baring? Miss Baring, is that you beeping at 4 in the morning?
Njoki has loved the stage since childhood, even though she decided to take up a different career in the medical field.
The very first Kenyan music video that went viral, I was not on the screen, but I was a very big part of like costumes and props and things like that, because it's my friends that made it. Shout out to Just a Bad. Yeah. So the video was for Hahe, the Makmende business. That was fantastic. I loved that. I just need to say that I'm bragging at this point in time.
I can say with confidence that none.
One of the things that make a great actor is the ability to seriously get into character. If you remember, Mumbi mentioned shaving her head to truly capture the essence of a cancer patient.
Because the character who I'm playing is going through an 8-month course of cancer treatment, one of the things that we're acting out is chemotherapy. And with chemotherapy, you lose your hair. So I'm going to shave my hair.
And true to her word,
one of my friends posted that she cut her dreadlocks 3 years ago. And it took her a year to make the decision. And that she still has them in a plastic bag. She still holds on to them. So I'm just losing one. Just one dreadlock. As a movie actor, you sometimes have to do things like kiss someone you wouldn't have wanted to kiss. You might have to do things. You might have to do things that you wouldn't necessarily have wanted to do. I think that it comes with the territory. I know that the hair will grow. It's not like having to do anything that is so huge, like having to move from one location to another location to live there because of work, as some people have to do. So yeah, I'm easy with it. It's been almost a year of wanting to do this play, so I've had a year or several months to prepare myself. I like to create characters that come from all aspects of my life. And so in a certain way, I'm devoting and dedicating this to my brother as well, and to anybody who has gone through the kind of challenges that we went through as a family when we discovered that he was passing.
Oh, look at it. It's so cute.
Don't worry. Almost completely gray. Well, there it is, history. I think that this play, for me, speaks to a broad concern about health and how we look after ourselves, and the fact that there is so many people who are succumbing to cancer. My own brother died 3 years ago of pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer, very much the same as ovarian cancer, is very difficult to pinpoint in an early stage. So by the time we found out, or he found out that he had cancer, he was given 6 months to live. And he lived a full year. I mean, I didn't write the play, it's written by somebody else, but it's interesting that my brother died of the male cancer that is hard to detect, and the woman that I'm playing is dying from the female cancer that is very hard to detect also. I think, the celebration that it gave us an opportunity to have, because once he found out that he was dying or that he had cancer, he lived so fully within that year. We had morning breakfast every week with him and my brother, and we communed and we talked about things that we had never talked about. So sometimes, the worst thing that can happen in your life can be one of the best things that can happen in your life, because it can then, sort of like center you and focus, and you get laser sharp about what's important.
One of the biggest things with cancer is catching it late. And because your options go down with every day that it's missed. So it has affected me personally. I've seen people die, I've seen people recover from it. And it's not a matter of people being strong or whatever. Sometimes it's just luck that's on your side. Sometimes it's resilience. Most importantly, if people know that they are loved and that they matter, that helps a lot. So whether you're going to die eventually or whether you're going to recover, that counts. It's your family and the people that love you.
The play is about humanity. What's happening is that it's about somebody finding themselves and the ability to be wrong and to find out that, you know what, the way I set up my world so perfectly and the way I have understood it, actually, I didn't get it right. And I'm getting it right now because I'm reflecting on my life and realizing that people are very much a part of who I am. Because Vivian Baring is a character who really has lived in the confines of academia and not really gone out to see what human beings do in the world. Yet she works with very emotional poems that ask her to make connections with other people.
One of the things we loved when we did a little bit of exploring around the play was a video that Margaret Edson herself had done, and it's on YouTube. And she said it's a play about grace. And that was the most beautiful thing that I had heard in a very long time, because grace is about redemption, and that anybody can be picked up from a horrible, dark place and be made to realize all sorts of different things about life and about where they're coming from, and that everybody can change their mind. Just because people say that you're this kind of person, even if you yourself say that, I am this, I am that, there is always space for change.
The two doctors who are in the play have taught us about medicine. They've taught us about how to be compassionate towards doctors, because, you know, sometimes you're dismissive about doctors, you are feeling that they didn't take you seriously, or they dismissed you, or they charged you too much, or all of these things that we say about what, you know, the healthcare professional is. We've also had a chance to learn from them about what they go through in their day-to-day life when they're treating us, and how patients, you know, how patients can be just as pissing off to a doctor as a doctor can be to a patient.
So this year I've had an opportunity to go back to writing radio dramas. I've produced one or two radio dramas. So I'll be workshopping those scripts to see if I can bring them on a stage and see if they can be published on some radio somewhere. There's always talk of an album when you're a musician. That's always going to be there. I have written the songs, I just haven't got an opportunity to record all of them.
What I'm working on currently is a web series called Maria's Boys that I'm adapting into a Nairobi version. And then I'm working on the short film I mentioned, Always, where still trying to raise money, fundraise, in order to put it together next year, have it produced next year. And then have about 5 different feature-length scripts that I have to complete in order to sell them so that I can actually have them worked upon.
One of the most exciting things that's happening to me is I'm part of an arts collective called The Nest, working with a few very amazing people. And what we want to do is be able to be a space for artists to just to enjoy art and not think very hard about the things that usually make art hard to do, like where am I going to get resources to do X and Y and Z. And it's not just financial, it's about support, it's about learning new things, stuff like that. So The Next should be rolling out soon, and I'm really excited about that.
Relationships on set, on rehearsal are very, very good actually. It's been a fun month working on the project, and now as we're nearing to put it on stage, everybody's really cool.
Everybody's coming from somewhere and everybody's so gifted. So we're just all ensconced in worshipping each other, saying, oh my God, you're so amazing. To everybody who's done, because everybody's done so much stuff and is coming from a place where they're just so great.
Now, I'll be taking a few notes.
It is clear that the cast and crew members of the play Wit are prepared to go the extra mile in ensuring that the play is as entertaining and educating as possible.
The play Wit is fantastic because as opposed to a walk or a charity, concert, this provides an opportunity for people to actually come and be entertained by people who are working incredibly hard to put this play together. But come, sit, learn what there is to learn, go through the motions of the people who actually have this disease, be in their shoes.
WIT is a part of a series of activities that are going to be happening. We're going to be having presentations that are going to be done on site. People can get more information, they can get more informed. So it's theatre as an advocacy vehicle. So people can come get informed about what's going on. They will be able to know about testing. And also what we're doing, it's a tough subject. However, it's a hopeful play.
This is a collection of some of the best actors in town right now. And if that's not a good enough reason, then you should come because you're raising money for cancer awareness. And because it's a great tribute to the late Wangari Maathai. I mean, come on, there's got to be opportunities for you to come and see the show.
Wit, in very many ways, is about irony and comedy, even as it's about Vivian Berry and her struggle with a cancer that's ravaging her body. And so somebody who will be able to see through that and to appreciate that life is about more than pain, that's why you should come and watch Wit.
Fundamentally, as artists, we love to be watched. We want to be loved. We want to feel that we're significant. We want to feel that we're important in society. I think that very often, we prepare something. We have no way of knowing how many people are going to show up. But one of the best things that can happen for an actor is to come out on stage or to have somebody whisper before the curtains go up, "It's a full house." So, in a vain kind of way, what I want is for people to say that they love the work that I do. I want for them to say that they love the work that my fellow actors do. There are some names, named actors, people who have been doing work for a long time. And it's work. It is work. And the only way to support the work is to come and see it.
The magnitude of cancer brings with it physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial trauma to the infected and the affected. David Makumi, the vice chair of the Kenya Cancer Association, said in an interview that it is regrettable that Kenyans are dying of cancers which can be treated if diagnosed early. He was referring to cervical cancer, which he says can be detected as early as when a woman is in her teens. He adds that it is progression in the cells takes long and can be tamed in the early stages. But Kenyan women are shying away from early screening. Do not shy away, as this disease is as fatal as they come. Support the cancer cause by going to watch the production Wit, which will be open this coming week from Tuesday the 23rd till Sunday the 28th. Expect to be thoroughly entertained and educated. Midmorning at standardmedia.co.ke is our address. You can also get in touch with us through our Facebook page, KTN Midmorning. We look forward to your feedback. It's goodbye for now.